He was like saying at one point in his political career, they're saying he was too young, but he's like, that
was 50 years ago, Joe.
For real. But he was saying, like, I know America, like, I know American history, like, I've been here since the country was founded in 1776. Like, I'm like, Joe, that's not a good thing. I don't know, but
I own slaves.
Joe Biden came out and he talked for over an hour. Like, I think an hour and a half, Joe Biden was up there. His corpse was up there talking. I think it was him. But he seemed like he had a lot to say.
Yeah, he really did. I thought it was pretty funny. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I tried to, but I just didn't have the focus to really make it through his whole speech. But I liked his energy.
Okay.
I liked the ad libs that he had in throughout the process. I like, of course, the jabs that he took at the Republicans. He's entertaining. He looks like he's ready for another 4 years.
Does he really? He looks like he's ready to be in a hospice. Let's be real.
I thought it was a good day for him, honestly. Like, we've seen him worse.
Yes. I mean, listen, he talked about his age at the end of the speech.
Yeah.
And, he was like saying at one point in his political career, they're saying he was too young, but he's like, that
was 50 years ago, Joe.
For real. It's just like, bro. But he was speaking to his experience. There does, come a lot with experience. We'll talk about Drea later.
Damn.
But he was saying, like, I know America, like, I know American history, like, I've been here since the country was founded in 1776. Like, I'm like, Joe, that's not a good thing. I don't know, but
I own slaves.
Oh my God. Yeah, but he did seem very energized. He did make a lot of good points when he was talking about inflation going down. Mm-hmm. He's talking about, securing the border, which is, very right-wing point of view. And he kind of put it on Congress and said, well, give me a bill to pass. I'm ready to secure the borders. And he kept talking about Trump, but he just kept calling him his predecessor, which I thought was bars. He is good at attacking Trump. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. He did seem really energized, but it's just so funny. His talking cadence always makes me laugh because he always just starts off like really yelling, and then by the end when he's tailing off. It just like he just tries to fit too many words into one word. It seems like, and it's just kind of
starts running out of breath.
It's crazy, and I'm like, hey, he is 81 years old. He'll be 82 in November.
Yeah.
And to hear the Democrats, cheering 4 more years, I'm like, come on. Like, there's no one else out there who could do this. Like, this is who you want 4 more years out of. I mean, the things he was saying, I think he did a good job for, naming off his accomplishments. And now, it's official. Trump is a Republican nominee, which is something I don't think is a surprise to anybody.
No, not at all. I think the writing's been on the wall, but like I said, I was pleasantly surprised with Biden. I think he brought the energy that he needed to help make people feel comfortable, because I feel like over the last year we've seen a lot of his public appearances where it's just like, dude, what is going on? I don't know what kind of drugs they gave him, what kind of energy drink he was on. I don't know, but he
Hunter Biden. He was on the Hunter Biden.
That cocaine they found was actually Joe's. That was actually Joe's. But
allegedly, come on.
I will say the one thing that randomly crossed my mind was, a 80-something-year-old man standing up there for almost 90 minutes. That in and of itself is impressive. But for Kamala and the speaker to be back there standing behind him, I know he was cutting some gas loose. I know it, because after a certain age, like, you just can't control it. And your loved ones that know that you can't control it, they're like, all right, it is what it is. Like, he's an old man. But for Kamala and the speaker to be back there, they didn't have to hold their noses or anything. They must have been prepped. They knew they were on camera. They were like, listen, we got this. Bro,
he got the Secret Service presidential diaper on. Super Depends. Extra sealed.
Extra sealed.
Top secret.
The Ziploc.
That's that stealth diaper, yo. You know he got that shit on.
Oh my goodness! But listen, shout out to Joe Biden.
Shout out to Joe Biden.
Listen, I'm happy. I'm happy with his performance. But there was another follow up after that.
Yeah, man. You talk about someone who sounds confused, man. This woman was in her kitchen. Alabama was state senator, Katie Britt, right?
Yeah, Katie Britt, youngest woman ever to be elected to the U.S. Senate by the GOP, and she had the response. She had the response, and let's take a quick listen to how that response sounded.
So many families across America. My husband Wesley and I just watched President Biden's State of the Union address from our living room. One thing was quite clear, though. President Biden just doesn't get it. President Biden, we know that President Biden's border policies, of President Biden's senseless border policies. President Biden, and tonight, President Biden, Mr. President, enough is enough. We know that.
I'm surprised he wasn't at the Oscars.
I'm not.
And unfortunately, President Biden's weakness, the president has demonstrated. President Biden has failed. And what does President Biden do? The free world deserves better.
Wow.
Her response was comical, man. It was hilarious to me.
Straight from the kitchen, man. Was she cooking?
No. She was wearing the green like Handmaid's Tale.
Bro, she's cooked, man. I don't know what she was talking about, man.
Man, it was really bad. I don't know what the Republicans are trying to do, but she doesn't even talk like that. Any of her other press talks, like public speaking engagements, she doesn't talk like any of the women that she tried to sound like in that monologue. Like it
sounds
was
like them TikTokers, you know. It's just like President Biden. It's that like trembling like voice that I can't stand. It's like that Karen.
That's what it is. It's like a bat call to all the Karens in the nation.
For real, she's trying to trigger people. Like I felt triggered listening to it. And I actually took some audio from a piece of it. I don't want to say the specific thing that she was talking about, but just listen to this. Like coming from Biden's like things, crazy.
The cartels put her on a mattress in a shoebox of a room, and they sent men through that door over and over again for hours and hours on end.
Now, she was not talking about Adam 22's wife.
Oh, man.
She was talking about some sex trafficking from the cartels, but the person she was actually talking about, that happened like during George Bush's term, like George W. Bush's term. Like
20 years ago.
Yeah. But she wanted to blame Biden for this. And it was just like, even your examples in this shit, like when you're trying to like scare people, and that's what they do. You know, they're trying to scare people with the migrants and, a lot of fear mongering. I would say kind of like on both sides. He got the biggest ovation, Biden, when he was talking about Ukraine, and supporting them. So,
yeah,
at least they could be united on some fronts. I'm not sure where the American people stand on any of these things, because it sounds like we're more divided than ever. And Trump, he went out of his way to throw some Snapchat filters.
Those were funny. Those were really funny. The bug eyes that he put on them. Oh man, that was great. That was great. I will say, Trump is entertaining, man. I will stand by that. It's just, he's going to run the country into a civil war or a world war, one or the other. So
maybe both. Biden was saying like we got, foreign and domestic, threats to democracy, which I don't know, man. Honestly, I never feel comfortable when, the government kind of talks against citizens, but, knowing we're in America, knowing the people we live with, you never know, man. We were founded on some BS, and we'll see, man. Now that Trump is the official nominee, I think it's pretty secure to know this is the rematch that's going to happen, and we're going to see. But, another thing that Congress is focused on, man, is banning TikTok.
Yeah.
Which, something that Trump, made an issue. I think he was like the first person to really kind of speak against TikTok and the dangers of, their parent company ByteDance, which is a Chinese company, working with the Chinese government and sending them our data.
All the data.
Yeah.
Because we don't read the agreements. The agreements are more than one page. Nobody's reading what they're signing over. And it's basically like all the data on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but they said like now they have to sell it off to an American company or they're going to ban it. Do you think that this is even possible? Because, there's been other cities and like college campuses that around the U.S. that have like banned TikTok, but a national ban is very different.
Yeah, a national ban is huge. So basically what's happened today was the House of Representatives, they voted, and they passed the bill saying that they want to ban TikTok. And I think it was like by a landslide. It was like 350 to 60 or something like that. So it passed because, like you said, everybody thinks it's a national security threat. And like... I don't know what's going to happen when this goes to the Senate, though. Will the Senate be as lopsided in the voting? Who knows? But I think this is really interesting because it could be the initial step to maybe some of the other things that might be coming towards other social media platforms that we use. Yeah. I just don't know if it's just an attack because this is a Chinese company or if this is a step into a different direction for social media in general.
Yeah, I think it is the Chinese part of it. And also TikTok has just been dominant. It's been addictive, like so many people like just spend hours and hours on TikTok. It's taken over media in a crazy way, really shortened attention spans. And, for a whole young generation, this is like replaced like Google as a search engine. It's replacing YouTube. Everyone's changing their UI to look more like TikTok. Even Spotify is trying to be more like TikTok. It's also influencing music. So I don't know if you could just shut the lights off like that, and we'll see if like Google and Apple, comply with the U.S. government because, hey, they're all in on it. And a lot of these companies do take our data. That's why now he switched sides. He's like, no, like if they get rid of TikTok, then Meta's going to be too powerful. And it's just like, I don't know. Troy, do you think it's possible to ban TikTok?
No, I don't think so. I think, I feel like the Senate, I don't think they're going to pass it. And honestly, I don't have TikTok, so I don't really have that much investment. And if they did, I would hope they keep that same energy against Meta, against, X and all these other social media ones. Because, I feel like there is a bias against, ByteDance being a Chinese-owned corporation. So, I don't think it's going to get banned, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's really interesting, though. I mean, you remember we talked about New York trying to limit social media for people, like anybody that's under 18 years old and stuff like that, and their work on that. So I don't know, but something has to be done. Just given the amount of misinformation, the propaganda, like it's rampant, and I think like you're saying, I don't think it should just be limited to TikTok because it's Chinese. We've seen it in elections for a number of years now. And we're going to see it this year, too.
Yeah.
All the misinformation and stuff. So
I mean, I get it because the Chinese government is, I don't know. It's hard to separate their government from their corporations because of, the Communist Party and the way it's structured over there. I feel like if there was a big, like, Russian social media company, it would be differently regulated too because of the threat that's going on. So I think it is a real threat against at least the government, and them being concerned, you can be blackmailed, but we could all be blackmailed. But they have all of our data. So if Google or anyone gets compromised, who knows? I don't know if you can ban TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, follow on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok,
all the apps. We're everywhere. We are everywhere.